Erica. So in today's video, I will talk about how I stopped obsessing over six-pack abs instead of how to get them. Because honestly, six-pack abs just aren't that important to me anymore. At least they're not my ultimate fitness goal. For a while though, that was my big fitness goal. As a personal trainer, I thought if I can get visible six-pack abs, then everyone will know I'm really fit. Plus, I kind of wanted people to be like, wow, you look amazing. What's your secret? What do you do? What do you eat? I worked so hard on it. Well, actually, too hard and for too long is probably more accurate. I got to the point where I was mentally exhausted. I was stressed out all the time, constantly hitting the walls. And then after a while, I had this realization. It just wasn't worth it. The whole process and even the idea of having six pack abs started to feel meaningless. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting six pack abs. If you have them and you're healthy, that's awesome. If you're working towards them and you're enjoying the journey, that's great too. But if anyone out there is struggling and suffering to get them, I just want to share my experience and how I changed my perspective. Hopefully, it can help you too. So, first of all, how is visual six pack abs actually achieved? There are two facts that make your six pack abs visible. Most importantly, you have to have a low body fat percentage. And secondly, building ab muscles help define your ab muscles more. Okay, so let's talk about body composition and how it relates to six pack abs. Here's the thing, everyone already has six pack abs. They're just hiding under a layer of fat. So, the real difference between someone with visible abs and someone without is how thick that layer of fat is. Basically, you need a low enough body fat percentage for those ab muscles to show through. Now, let's get into some numbers. Here's a quick look at healthy body fat ranges and the body fat percentage you'd likely need for visible abs. First, let's talk about what's considered a healthy body fat percentage. For men, generally ranges from 8 to 19%, though it can vary a bit depending on age, fitness level. Women naturally have higher body fat percentage than men. That's just how our bodies work. A healthy range for women is typically between 21 to 32%. Now, for those defined six pack abs, it's different for everyone, but generally, women need to get their body fat percentage down to somewhere between 16 and 20% for their abs to really pop. Men usually need to be in the 6 to 13% range. So, what do these numbers tell you? Well, for women, it means that to have visible abs, your body fat percentage needs to be lower than the healthy range. And here's a really important point. Body fat plays a huge role in women's hormonal balance and overall health. Hormones control so many things: metabolism, menstrual cycles, mood, everything. A healthy amount of body fat is essential for keeping those hormones balanced. But too little body fat can actually cause some serious health problems. Well, I'll share my own experience with having low body fat a little later. So let's talk about building up muscles. The bigger your ab muscles are, the easier they'll show, even if your body fat isn't super low. So you definitely want to include some ab focused exercise in your routine. Compound exercises like squats and deadlifts are great, and followed by isolation exercises like crunches, planks, mountain climbers, you know the drill. But here's the thing, even with low body fat and strong abs, some women will have visible six pack abs at 20% body fat, while others might need to closer to 15%. And that's where genetics comes in. Genetics play a big role in how your abs look. Things like how your body distributes fat, the type of muscle fibers you have, and how your body responds to training, all that's influenced by your genes. For example, some people are just genetically predisposed to store less fat in their stomach area, which makes it easier for their abs to show. Others might store more fat in their midsection, which can make it harder to see their abs, even if they work out like crazy. Well, you can't really change your genetics. I'm not saying you cannot improve your physique, but I want to emphasize that everyone is different. That's why it's so important to know yourself, understand your body, and set realistic goals based on your body, not someone else. Well, despite of all the difficulties to get visible six-pack abs, especially for women, why it's gained its popularity? Well, six-pack abs are everywhere online nowadays, right? Inspiring many women. Influencers share workouts and diets, which is very helpful, and create support communities, which is great for motivation, cheering each other. But there's a downside too. While seeing other people's progress can be inspiring, it can also make you feel bad about yourself. Constantly seeing these perfect bodies can easily lead to comparing yourself to others, which can crush your self esteem and make you lose confidence. It's totally fine to have a vision of what you want to look like. But if you're constantly comparing yourself and feeling pressured or stressed, you need to take a step back and rethink what's really important. And the other thing is, all this perfect physique online can create unrealistic body standards. It can make people think that's how everyone should look, which just isn't realistic or healthy. It's definitely changing the standards of what's considered fit and normal, and not always in a good way. Well, at least for me, being fit is about being strong, both inside and out. It's about emotional strength and physical strength. So, let me share my experience and alternate perspectives on abs. So, my whole fitness journey used to revolve around getting six pack abs. I was working out like crazy, restricting my diet, basically dedicating every ounce of my time and energy to that one goal. I was obsessed with the idea that I had to have the visible six pack abs to prove I was a fit personal trainer. And honestly, it drove me nuts. It actually led to some serious behavioral and emotional issues. Well, first, I became obsessed with counting calories. I was tracking every single bite, every sip. I ended up eating the same thing every single day because I didn't want to mess up my calorie intake. Well, it didn't bother me too much to have the same thing over and over, but it eventually messed with my appetite and make me want to binge on everything. Counting calories can be very helpful for fat loss, but when it becomes an obsession, it's time to take a break. You can still eat healthy without tracking every calorie. Second, I was constantly checking my weight, body fat percentage, and my physique in the mirror. Every single morning, I'd weigh myself and check my body fat, and my whole day mood was completely dictated by those numbers. And I was checking myself out in the mirror constantly. Every time I went to the bathroom, every time I passed a mirror, every time I saw a reflection in a window. And honestly, I was never satisfied. Third, I started avoiding any social events that involved food. I didn't want to go out to eat because I was afraid of messing up my carefully calculated calorie intake. I was also worried about being judged for being so strict with my diet. I guess if I had been more confident in what I was doing, it might have been different. But I was so lost and out of control in my pursuit of six pack abs. But for me, or for many people, social gatherings that involve food are so much fun. If I had to give all that up, then whatever I was doing just wasn't worth it. Balance is a key here. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be somewhere in between. But if you're forcing yourself to be 100% strict all the time, it might be time to rethink your fitness goals and how you're approaching them. So, did I get the results I wanted after all the suffering? I guess I did, sort of, but I never really felt like I did. Does that make sense? I was always wanting more. As soon as I started seeing a little definition in my abs, I was happy for a while or maybe like a moment, but then I'd immediately want them to be more visible. I felt like it was running on a treadmill that never stopped. So the real wake up call came when my period was delayed. It wasn't completely gone, but it was late, which never ever happened to me before, even 1 or 2 days. And that happened when my body fat percentage was 17.7%, which by the way was the lowest it had ever been. And I still didn't have the six pack abs I was killing myself for. I realized my body was screaming for help. I was exhausted, both physically and mentally. I wasn't happy at all. I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. But I did know I wanted a healthy and fun life with my family and friends back. And I knew I could get that back. So, right after that, we took a family trip to Boise, Idaho. And honestly, it was one of the best trips ever. I had so much fun with my family. I ate what I wanted, I laughed a ton, I ran 15K on a treadmill just for fun, no pressure. I swam with my boys for hours, just enjoying being a mom. I finally felt like I'm actually living again. I'm now working towards my own realistic fitness goals, and I'm so excited about it. I'll share more about that later, but today I just want to remind myself of a few things about abs. So I decided to focus on core strength rather than getting visible six pack abs. Instead of obsessing over six pack abs, I shifted my focus to something way more important: core strength. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying core muscles aren't important, they're essential. We should all be motivated by the health benefits that come with a strong core: better posture, improved balance, and enhanced performance in pretty much everything we do. Plus, so many people suffer from lower back pain, and often it's because their core muscles are weak. I used to be one of them. But by strengthening your core, you give your spine better support, which reduce or even prevent lower back pain. I can honestly say that my core is way stronger than it used to be thanks to all the strength training. I can lift heavier weights without any back pain, which is something I struggled with for a long time. So, let's define core strength. Instead of focusing on how it looks, let's focus on what it can do. Let's define core strength by your performance, not your appearance. So now I think of six pack abs as a bonus, a happy little surprise I get when I achieve my real main fitness goals. Here's what I mean. Let's say your fitness goal is to run a half marathon. Your plan might include strength training, a healthy diet, and running a few times a week. Your progress is measured by how much longer and faster you can run. And your result? You crushed that half marathon. Awesome! And the bonus? Maybe you've noticed your abs are more defined, your legs are toned, your arms look great, all the stuff. So, You achieve your main goal, running that half marathon, and you get a bonus, a toned physique. I think it's also a lot about mindset. I have this theory I call the Ataribo theory. So Ataribo is like a little prize hidden in the popsicle in Japan. You eat your popsicle, and if you're lucky, you might find a winning message on the stick. If you do, you get a free popsicle. For me, six pack abs are like that, a Taribo. If you're buying a popsicle just because you love the popsicles, then you're happy either way. But if you're buying popsicles only to win a free one, you're probably going to be disappointed when you don't win. You might even keep buying popsicles until you do win and you stop enjoying the popsicles themselves. They become worthless. That's how I felt about six pack abs. I was so focused on getting them that I stopped enjoying the process of getting it. What I'm trying to say is that I want your progress and the results you get from your fitness goals to be worth the effort, and most importantly, enjoyable. So now I try not to driven by fitness norms created by others, but I follow my own fitness norm. This isn't just about fitness, it's about life in general. If you feel like you have to compare yourself to others to figure out who you are, then at least compare yourself to, well, yourself. That's the only fair comparison, right? If you like today's version of you more than yesterday's version, then awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said before, social media has created a ton of unrealistic fitness norms. And if they're driving you crazy, then forget about them. Create your own fitness norms and stick to them. But remember, there's one basic rule that applies to everyone, no matter what their fitness goals are. Stay healthy and well, physically and emotionally. But changing my perspective on six pack abs has totally changed my life. I'm having so much more fun now, and I'm actually excited about my fitness journey. If you'd asked me before, why do you do strength training? I would have said to get six pack abs. But now I say I do strength training to be stronger inside and out. And that's the real beauty of it. Strength training makes you strong physically and emotionally, and it makes you beautiful inside and out. Well, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next video.